Good evening, everybody. Welcome to PlayStationGL for some more F3 action. It's now round 9 of the season out of 14, and we're staying in Asia, hopping over from Vietnam to Japan. It's for Suzuka Circuit. It is the Japanese Grand Prix. My name is Luke Etheridge. Alongside me tonight is Sam Thompson. And Sam, it's a big opportunity for a lot of drivers tonight because Kasper, the all-dominant championship leader, isn't here.
Well, it's a huge opportunity, and, well, it's a more huge opportunity for those who, you could argue, are still in the championship fight. There's only really 5 names you can really think of. I mean, outside of Kasper, that would be 4 names, and that's Ginger, Black Phoenix, Lars, and Zach. I feel like if you have less than 40 points, you're out the championship hunt, but this is a brilliant opportunity for those, especially Lars. Like, we talk about Lars, he's won 3 races this season, but he hasn't won them on the... Well, he's won them on the track, but because of penalties, he's not won the races. And, well, I haven't seen anyone bottle this hard, in my opinion, because I think it's absolutely shambles that he's won 3 races on track and has not won a single one of them, though. Like, because of pens. And I'm like, just sort your racecraft out, make sure you don't get these pens in. But he is one of them. Ginger and Black Phoenix. Black Phoenix has just been inconsistent. I think this has just been the story of the season, really, excluding Kasper, is that everyone seems to be being a bit inconsistent with results. We're seeing Zach, who came in a little late. He got 3 podiums in a row. We were like, oh my god, finally, Kasper's dominance may slightly be over, but he's been a little bit shaky. Zach has the last 3 rounds, 6th, 13th, and 8th. So it's an interesting one, but Kasper right now has got a pure grip on the championship. Even if he does miss this race and perhaps the next 2 races, he still will have a grip.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, Kasper, 99 points at the moment, more than double Ginger in the 2nd position on 49. So you've got to say, at this current rate of scoring points, if Kasper misses every single race, unless Ginger, Black Phoenix, Lars, Zach, everyone else steps it up a gear, it wouldn't make a difference. Kasper would probably still win the championship. Obviously, he won't be wanting to miss every race because it might get a bit squeaky for him. But yes, Kasper 99 points, Ginger 49, Black Phoenix 47, Lars 46, Zach 44. So that battle for 2nd place, extremely close with those 4 drivers within 5 points of each other at the moment. And it looks like a very overcast Suzuka Circuit for qualifying, which could always have an effect on how it goes around here. Rain you see quite often in Japan, and when it rains, it pours. No such thing as a light sprinkling of rain around this Suzuka Circuit. You mentioned Lars. I do wonder if this first 2 races of the season were a bit of a sliding doors moment for the Mercedes driver. He won across the line in Austria, penalties dropped him for 2nd. He was looking really quick in Hungary when he damaged his front wing and ended up finishing in 17th. He could have well been tied with Kasper in the championship after them first 2 races, and last time out again, just got a bit impatient, made a mistake. It's almost like now he's trying too hard to make up for the mistakes he made earlier in the season, and unsurprisingly, that's leading to more and more mistakes.
I mean, with Lars, I know he's a very quick driver, and like all these drivers are, but mainly Lars I know to be very quick, and he came into the season, I think, he was one of the guys who came into the season thinking, you know, this is going to be my championship. He was quite confident about victories, he was quite confident about himself and where he'll be in the championship and what he'll be fighting for. And don't get me wrong, he probably would be in this position, but perhaps he's just not really focused on making sure that he's been putting the right performances in. Like, he's won races, yes, but he's won these races by cutting corners, and that's even, you know, that is legitimately cutting corners, and, well, it's cost him, and he really needs to figure out not to get penalties and, I guess, put the performances when they're needed. I mean, the sacrifice he made in Vietnam, I'm sure that wasn't his fastest lap, but he even said he just wanted to be outside the top 10 because he said that the alternate strat was, like, OP and everything, and, you know, yes, you've got that, but if you are doing the alternate strat, you've got a lot of traffic there, and a lot of things can happen. If you get pole position, you've got a lot of clean air, especially around the track like Japan. If you're leading throughout turn 1 and after that, dirty air is a nightmare around here. And I'll tell you something now, if you are leading out of turn 1, you could be in a really good position to stretch your lead out and potentially get out of the DRS. So whoever gets pole position here tonight is in a good position, and I'll tell you something now, if you want to do the alternate strat, not really necessary because it's not great around this track and just a normal strat will do.
Yeah, definitely. We'll see what the drivers go for. On board then with Cohen, and he just comes around turn 2 and gets very sideways as he approaches the S's. It's all about keeping a nice rhythm through here, not running too wide, not scrubbing too much speed off, and in the race, not taking too much out of the tyres either as he now heads up towards the Dunlop curve at turn 7. Then the two Degners, supremely fast set of right-handers here. Not a lot of runoff either. This track really does punish you if you make a mistake. Heading uphill now towards the hairpin at turn 11. Might see a dive bomb or two there in the race. It is possible to get an overtake done. Then flat through this long right-hander at turn 12. Heading to the spoon curves as Cherry Tupai has retired from the session. Looks like he's crashed out on his return. First part of spoon, one of the few corners where you can actually run wide and get away with it in a sense of there's not a big gravel trap at the exit of the corner. Heading uphill now towards what used to be one of the most challenging corners in Formula 1. In a modern car though, 130R easily. Flat out, heading towards the chicane now to finish the lap. Turn 16, turn 17, and a lot smoother than it used to be in 2019, turn 18. But Cohen decides to head into the pits, and it is Zach currently fastest on a 125.850. Black Phoenix is second on a 126.1. It was a mid 125 that got pole position in F2, so that's a pretty decent first lap, you've got to say, from Zach.
Yeah, it definitely is, and he's gotten away from everyone there, really, actually, because he's now 3/10 clear of everyone. Toxic is an interesting one up there. We've seen Toxic up here before, but we haven't seen Toxic put in the performances, though, this season. He has got a podium, but that was in pre-season, so obviously that's not on the records. But Zach really good out the gate here with a 25.8 for a banker. These overcast conditions are going to make the track a little bit cooler, which should be a little bit of an advantage for this driver since the tyre wear is a bit of a nightmare here in terms of the temperatures. But I think Zach will be very happy with that for a banker. But overall, I think that should be beaten by these F3 drivers when it comes to the final few laps. But a very solid banker from the Ferrari driver. He'll be very happy with that one.
Yeah, he will be. Like you said, Toxic showed a bit better performance actually the last time out. He admits he's sort of been carried towards the Constructors' Championship at the moment. Toxic equaling his best finish of the season last time around with a 5th in Vietnam, and that's helped McLaren become the first team to get over the 100-point mark. They're on 115. Williams second on 61, Mercedes 60, Ferrari 56, Alfa Romeo 55. So still a bit like the drivers. First place looks sorted, second place extremely close. Red Bull 45, Renault 41, Racing Point 31, Haas 16, and AlphaTauri just for 10 points so far. As Toxic heads into the pits, Calzo, he's invalidated his first one, and I feel like we sort of put the commentator's curse on Calzo last time out. We said how consistent he'd been, how he finished every race he started, and he was one of many to retire at Vietnam. Hopefully we'll see a bit less retirements here because they were all pulling into the pits retirements, which is never really what you want to see. You want to see the drivers fighting all the way along. Could possibly get a few safety cars here, especially if it rains.
Yeah, especially if it rains, it is definitely likely to get a safety car. I think around these corners as well, it's very difficult to overtake at this track, and there are a few opportunities. You've got turn 1 and turn 2, and that is one of the corners where you've got to be really careful about how you do that. If you go around the outside like I did yesterday, you're likely to be spun around, and well, that would cost me a race win and possibly even the championship. But there's also other corners as well. Of course, you've got the first deck there. That's very difficult to do that, of course. And I mean, also you've got the hairpin, like you said, and Spoon as well. It's kind of a difficult one to overtake, but everywhere here around this track there are a lot of overtaking opportunities. However, they're definitely not easy, and I don't think there's really any I would call easy around this track. And yeah, very twisty turn sort of track, and Well, it's also a track that really you got to have your foot to the pedal at all times because it's just so quick, so instant, and there's not really many major braking points. So, going to be a tricky track, but I think all these drivers have got enough. But that's what I said about pole position. Pole position is a treat around this track since, of course, overtaking and dirty air is completely put out of the question. Well, that's if you pull away on the first 3 laps.
Yes, definitely. There is only one DRS zone, and that is on the pit straight as Ginger. He's currently coming up towards 130R, and this is probably one of the best overtaking opportunities. If you can stay close enough to the car through 130R, which is a lot harder now on this game, then you've got the heavy braking for the chicane. But obviously, if you overtake there, you leave yourself vulnerable to being repassed with DRS down the pit straight and into turn 1. We'll see what sort of time Ginger can do. He goes up into second, joining Zach into the 125s. Very good lap from him. It's currently Zach, Ginger, Toxic, Black Phoenix, and Cohen actually just goes ahead of Toxic. 3,000ths of a second behind Ginger. Extremely close between the top 3 at this moment in time as Lars. 125.7. We've said this all season, and we said it earlier on tonight. We know both Mercedes drivers have got the pace. It's just they need to consistently show they've got the pace throughout the entire race, because there's still a chance. If Lars has a good result tonight and takes for victory, let's say he takes for win, doesn't get the fastest lap, that puts him onto 62 points, 37 behind Kalsper. Extremely difficult to catch up in 5 races, but if the McLaren has to miss another race, has a bad race where he has a retirement, or maybe something like Spain where he gets involved with incidents, it's not impossible. It is really the last chance for someone else tonight to say, right, I'm going to make this a title battle and try and win. Let's not forget, try and win that £20 prize for winning the F3 title, which is being provided by our sponsors, Brutal Democracy. Prizes for the winners of the top 3 tiers, with the top 3 in F1 getting themselves a prize. That's got to be motivation enough for some of these guys to just stick at it and try and put Kalsper under a bit of pressure.
Yeah, especially Lars, and I think that was his motivation drive, really, which led him to believe that he's got this season. And yeah, he would. This championship battle would have been so much better if he didn't get his penalties and perhaps had wins. But he's got a little bit of redemption here. He's got pole position currently. However, obviously this isn't the end of qualifying just yet, so everything can change. But I'm sure if he wins tonight, Lars, he would be feeling very, very confident. And I mean, of course, the £20, of course, you win for the drivers, but also for constructors, that could be a good thing to have, even if drivers is maybe unlikely to get now, because of course Kalsper's got such a good grip on it. But for constructors, really, Mercedes are in a really good light here, because we know how Toxic hasn't exactly been great all season. He's been good, but I mean, he was the one that said that he's getting carried by Kalsper, and steady if Kalsper comes back and looks at some bad performances, and I guess Mercedes act like this, if they get 1-2 plus the fastest lap, that's 29 points, and I believe there's like a 60-point odd gap between the two of them. Well, you know, that could go down, that could deplete very quickly. 55-point gap, and if you get 29 points here, 1-2 and the fastest lap, which is unlikely, it will close in very, very quickly, and I guess McLaren do have to be careful if, of course, Cohen and Lars can put in the performances towards the end of the season.
Yeah, definitely. They do have to be careful. This race could have a big say in the championship, which is what you see quite often at Suzuka. In fact, the first 5 F1 races here from 87 to 91 were all title deciders, and there's been a few more since then. Hakkinen winning both his championships around here. Schumacher won a couple as well, and Vettel securing the 2011 title around this circuit. On board with Zach then at the moment. He was a 10th up through sector 1, which is pretty much going to put him being bang on Lars's time at the moment. Let's see how he's doing through the second sector. 3 temps up. Very good job from the Ferrari. If he can just keep it clean through the final chicane, locking up that front right, that won't have an effect on his cornering. Made the apex superbly, heading towards the finish line then. Zach in the Ferrari takes provisional pole position, 125.561. Great job from him at the moment. He's actually one of the only 3 drivers have took a victory this season, and he's the only driver on the grid tonight to have a victory so far, taking the win in Spain as Cazizl, now a full-time driver in the Alfa Romeo. He takes pole position, and there is a lot of fast drivers on this grid. We've mentioned Lars and Cohen, Ginger and Zach, but in Italy, Cazizl and Spreen were both fighting near the front of the grid for the entire race. So they've got nothing to lose. They're not bothered about the championship. They've got absolutely no chance of winning it. They're just going to go out there, enjoy themselves, and try and pick up a few podiums and victories.
Sprain was on for the win, weren't he, in Italy? I mean, he spun the car, didn't he, at Parabolica, so he was really on for a victory in that one, or a podium, so a good debut from D. Sprain there. He's been a little bit inconsistent, I have to say, and here he's 11th at the moment behind his teammate VRT Boss Wanted, but I think he'd be rather happy with his start to life in PSGL F3. I think he'll enjoy it towards the end of the season, and like you said, they've got nothing too much to play for. I mean, except for getting higher in the championship, and I guess it'll be good for D-Sprain because it gives him good momentum, and I guess if he does sign up for next season, which I'm sure he probably will, because it seems like he's been enjoying it, but perhaps maybe this is a good opportunity to express yourself and get momentum on your side for next season, and perhaps to win a championship next season.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe just a chance to experiment with a few things. Setup-wise, I was about to say, a Mercedes has lost it, and it is Lars through the S's. That is a very familiar sight from Thursday in the evening for myself, I've got to say. But Lars is out of the session. Black Phoenix has just gone up into 4th. Still a very good lap from Lars. 3rd place is, though, going to be the highest he can get at the moment as his car just returns to the pit lane. So we're not going to see where he lost it. Ginger in 4th position then. Good lap for him. One of the Alpha Tauris coming around the final corner. That is Simply, and it's only a slight improvement. 0.02 of a second keeps him in 9th position at this moment in time. We'll see what Cohen's doing. He's slightly up on his personal best as well. Only 4 minutes to go in this session. Can the Mercedes challenge those for the front row of the grid? No, he can't. Does move ahead of Black Phoenix though, so up into 5th position for Cohen. I think D-Sprain's headed into the pits. Calzo looks as though he's coming into the pits as well. So Kazizel, Zach, Lars, Ginger, Cohen, Black Phoenix, your top 6 at the moment. The only drivers to get into the 125s, and again, an extremely close grid as Toxic. He gets himself into 3rd place. We saw this last week. He's definitely enjoying himself a bit more than looks a bit like the form he showed in that pre-season race where him and Kalsper did then look like the drivers to beat, apart from Will, who then obviously went up to F2.
Yeah, Toxic a very good qualifying, and he was unlucky really. He was 4 tenths up on his time, and I believe he was only 5 tenths down on the leaders, so he's not lost much time there, but I think Toxic could probably go quicker. He looked very conservative really through the chicane there, and I don't even know if he's got enough time to make it to another lap, so it's not even the end run for him, but unfortunately I don't think he's got enough time to make it to the pits and get another lap in, so that's the sacrifice. But that's a good lap from Toxic, and he's starting to show his colours a little bit, and although this season has been a little bit up and down for him, and he hasn't got really the podium like he got in Mexico, but he'll be enjoying it, and I think 3rd place right now is a really good spot for Toxic, and if he can prove this in the race as well, I mean, this is good for McLaren, because McLaren don't lose much ground on the championship. I mean, especially if, like I said, Mercedes go out there and get a 1-2 or something. That is really good for Toxic if he is representing that McLaren well and getting them onto the podium, maybe alongside those 2 Mercedes, or maybe none of the Mercedes will be on the podium because one's retired, the other one's in the pits, and I'm sure is about to go out any minute now, but yeah, well, this is really good from Toxic because he's making his team proud, and he retires, but obviously he'll be very happy with the position he's got.
Yeah, he'll be very happy in 3rd place. We do have a reserve driver tonight replacing Carlsberg, making his debut in F3 this season is Pam_Gabri 16 F1, and he's currently in 16th position. Hasn't really set a competitive lap time at the moment, so a bit of an unknown quantity, a bit like Kazizel and D-Sprain were, and they've definitely shown that on some tracks at least they've got the pace. We've got yellow flags showing up, and now we've got all back to green. Not quite sure what that was for. I think F1 2020 doing what F1 2020 does there. Cherry Tupai's back in the session. He'll be in last place on the grid. Missed the last couple of races, and another driver whose season hasn't gone the way we would have planned. Gabriel looks like he is improving at the moment through the first sector, so we'll just follow him round for the rest of the lap. You said, Sam, tyre wear, big issue around here. What sort of strategy do you see everyone going for? Soft to hard tyres, or do you think someone will try and do soft to mediums?
Well, most of them I do reckon will do soft to mediums. A lot of people will favour that. However, I have definitely said that sometimes soft hard does actually work. You need to have really the pace on those soft hards to make sure that you are keeping with those soft mediums. But about 5 or 6 laps in on those hard tyres, you're almost on the same pace as the medium runners, and this could be interesting. Ginger is in an awkward place. Shouldn't affect Gabri though, but yeah, it's a little interesting one in my opinion for the strategy, because others will take the gamble to do soft hards and others will maybe just look to do soft mediums, but it's all about tyre saving and whether you can save those medium tyres to keep enough pace in them at the end of the race. And same for the hard tyres, if you could just keep up with the drivers on the medium tyres until the end, say you're within a second on lap 24, you should be fine at that point, because the medium tyres, when they go off very quickly, and the hard tyres will stay with you till the end, and you'll be much quicker on there. I mean, in FP the other night, I was gaining by around a second and a half on the person ahead of me, and well, he wasn't even gaining that much time on me beforehand from that. So,
sorry to interrupt, Sam. Super Mario has gone off through the Dunlop curve. He's off the circuit, so 11th place will be the highest he can get. His teammate, though, has gone fast. Oh, he's been disqualified from the session as well. That's a nightmare for Super Mario. So, as his teammate, Zach, goes fastest at the moment on a 125.4. His teammate will be starting right from the back of the grid. Let's see who's on the lap at the moment. Forever just coming towards the end. He's in 10th position at the moment. Doesn't need much to move himself up. Maybe even challenge his teammate. There we go. Definitely does more than that. Forever up into 5th. But Black Phoenix now on a lap behind him. He goes up into 3rd place. Great lap from him. Ginger takes 2nd place. He's got himself onto the front row. Who else is on circuit at the moment on a lap? Can simply improve at all. Only up into 10th place in the end. Vanderbrug comes around the corner. He moves himself up into 14th. Calzo made an absolute meal of the final corner, and he's got big front wing damage, so he won't be able to improve. So it's all up to Cohen now, and he's invalidated his lap time. So Zach, Ginger, Kazizzle, your top 3 here, and Cohen's just going to drift his way, not that stylishly if we're being truthful, into the pit lane. He needs to be careful he doesn't get disqualified here for blocking the pit lane, because we've seen how eager the stewards are to throw a disqualification out. But there we go. Zach on pole position, and I believe, and I'll just quickly check, that is his first pole of the season.
Yeah, well done to Zach. He's obviously got a win, and obviously podiums, but the pole is now complete, and I think for Zach, he's now got every single stat there complete. So he's got a win, he's got a pole, he's got 3 podiums, and he's got the fastest lap. So good Grand Slam if you want to call it that. But yeah, he's got pole position, a blister lap as well from Ginger as well, who will be interested to see. And these two will be definitely interested to see. And Kazizzle, where's he come from? He's not exactly been too bad, but he's not exactly been too great. So he's in 3rd place, and I guess Black Phoenix and Toxic as well. Very good result for Toxic, as he looks to be the only person running the McLaren name tonight in terms of obviously earning constructors points. So that's a good one for Calsper, who's probably looking out anyway. But yeah, really good result from Toxic, up in 5th place, and hopefully he can get that performance in the race as well.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see how they do in the race. Thankfully, it looks like there's not going to be any typhoons around Suzuka. Looks like beautiful sunshine. 27 laps ahead of us. That could be a really interesting... It was a really interesting qualifying session. Zach showed fantastic pace all the way through, as did Ginger, and a lot of those at the front. But we did see a few people invalidating laps late on, and obviously Lars spinning out. Didn't really get to see the best of him. Won't be able to go for the alternate strategy. We imagine no one was really going to go for that as a possibility out of those who'd expect to be higher up. Could be interesting to see how these Mercedes fight through the field, because again, I think they're faster than their qualifying pace has shown.
Yeah, of course, Lars, crashed out, didn't he? So he didn't exactly get his best lap in. He probably was going to be smashing his lap time, as we saw a lot of lap times smashed on the final run. That may have been down to the clouds opening up a little bit as well. So really, obviously, what's the word? Really interesting from the Mercedes team in 6th and 9th. I didn't realise they were that low down, if I'm honest, but yeah, it'll be interesting because they will fight through the field, but Lars needs to be careful because we've seen this before many times. He's made mistakes, and especially being in this position where he's towards the top 5, he wants to get by these guys as soon as possible. Toxic isn't in the championship fight, but then look who's in the championship fight here. Technically speaking, for 2nd place, you got Black Phoenix, you got Ginger, and you got Zach. I mean, the silver medal is also important. Obviously, not as important as the gold, but the silver medal is also a good one to have. And well, this is what the fight is for. And Lars would like to get that. And well, I guess really, it explains his season. Really, he's just been unfortunate and made, I guess, silly mistakes. So he'll need to have a good performance tonight and get past the guys that he needs to get by.
Yeah, we know he's got the pace. 3 podiums so far this season. 3 fastest laps as well. And 3 times he has seen the checkered flag first and then had the victory taken off him from the stewards. And there's another couple of times he could have had a victory as well. Got to be a bit careful though, because Toxic, he's not in the championship fight, and Kazizel, only his 2nd race this season. How's he going to do in the Alfa Romeo? First time driving for the Alfa Romeo full time. Got a 6th last time out in Monza, and we know he's willing to fight. Hopefully he won't break rule number 1 of Formula 1 and crash into his teammate, as Ginger is starting just ahead of him. But I fancy Kazizel for some reason tonight. I think he's got a chance. He can fight with a bit more aggression than some of these others, knowing that he's not really in a championship hunt. We aren't expecting many people to go for soft, medium, unless there's some damage. Soft, medium, we're expecting that just to be the standard strategy, and there is a straight split down the field. Top 10, we knew were all on softs. Outside the top 10, all going for the medium, so they'll be hoping it's a very nice, clean, early run, and quite often you do see incidents through turn 1 and through the S's. The best way to avoid them is just to be at the front of the field. Not the longest run down here to turn 1, not the easiest of overtaking opportunities either, and it is Zach on pole position for the first time this season. Ginger, the man currently 2nd in the championship, is alongside him as Super Mario comes into his grid slot after his disqualification in qualifying. Who is going to taste the champagne here in Suzuka as we wait for the lights to come on? Here we go then. Here in Japan, we've got 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. And we are underway. That was an extremely rapid start from Pitmat. I'm not sure whether the lights went out earlier for him because there was no jump start, but Zach holds on to the lead. Ginger is in 2nd. It almost looked like Black Phoenix was trying to make a move there on Kazizel. Cohen battling with Ferreira. I think Boss Wanter's managed to make his way past him as well. And it looks like everyone has made it through the first few corners. No, they haven't. Just as I say that, Calzo spins round, able to continue. He's in last place. So all Racing Points tonight once again. But Zach in the lead, Ginger 2nd, Kazizel is in 3rd position at the moment. Cohen looking very close to Boss Wanted in these early stages. Is still extremely close throughout the entire field, apart from Calzo. Cherry Tupai getting a good run, and Cohen's going to send one down the inside here on lap 1 on Boss Wanted. Probably a bit early to go for a lunge like that. Thankfully, the Haas driver saw it coming and had it covered off. Svanderburg getting ahead of Pat Gabry there. It looked for a second as if Cherry Tupai would be able to have a go at the Alpha Tauri, and now Super Mario just finds himself getting squeezed. Cherry Tupai's ran slightly wide. Super Mario doesn't need a second invitation. He's getting himself down the inside, although the Renault might have a better run down towards 130R at this moment in time. He's not going to get the overlap, so we'll just have to stay behind through there for now. But out in front as we're heading towards the end of the first lap in this race, it is Zach in the lead. Half a second just under from Ginger and Kazizel. Black Phoenix, Toxic. As soon as everything sorts itself out, we'll have a look what the position changes were. Pretty much a perfect start from those out in front, getting away, not losing any places, and already just looks ever so slightly as if Toxic trying to get away from Lars in these early stages.
Yeah, and Toxic was a little bit, he was going wide a little bit earlier, but he seems to have sorted himself out now, and Lars is a little bit under pressure. We've got Boss Wanted behind him, who's got trouble by Cohen, but Cohen is just stuck behind Boss Wanted, and we'll just see here, will he try to go for a move again? if he's close enough, of course. Don't look like he will be. And no, there'll be no moves made for Cohen surely into this corner, but it's definitely a corner where people do tend to like a dive bomb. But yeah, very good start, a very well behaved start from pretty much everyone. Everyone's behaved with each other, and I think Zach taking that lead is pretty good. But Ginger at the moment, he's sticking with him, and this is actually surprising for me because a lot of people do tend to fall quite far behind, almost out of DRS. Ginger's stuck in that, and he will have the DRS though on lap 4, not on lap 3, because of course the DRS gets enabled on lap 3. You won't get any DRS on lap 3 because there's no other DRS despite the one where it's enabled, so he'll have to wait another lap, unfortunately. But I'm pretty sure he's doing fine. 3 tenths behind, he's getting away from Kazizel as well, who will obviously be under pressure from Black Phoenix and Toxic if he does pull out of that one. If he does pull out of that 1 second gap as well.
Yeah, most certainly. So Cohen still all over the back of Boss Wanted at the moment. You can see both him and Boss Wanted jumping forever on the start. Pitmat, D-Screen, Vanderbroek all getting ahead of Gabri, who had the worst start. Super Mario and Calzo swapping positions as now Gabri gets ahead of Vanderbroek. So the AlphaTauri down to 14th place. I've got to say I do admire him in the AlphaTauri driver. He's raced most of the races this season. He hasn't got any points yet, but he keeps turning up, keeps fighting, and I do hope, I know we're supposed to be impartial, but I do hope at some point this season his efforts do get rewarded with a points finish at some point in the season, but they won't do if you hit the curb too much out of Degner 2 and find yourself spinning towards the barrier. Just about gets away with it there. You can see Ginger, it's hovering around a second, the gap between Ginger and his teammate at the moment, and I think if he breaks that 1 second window, that might give Black Phoenix a bit of a chance, but it's not like the Williams is hounding the Alfa Romeo at the moment. Quite a bit of a gap between those two cars, and this is probably just a dirty air effect on this game.
Yeah, and Black Phoenix losing time to Kazizel, so Kazizel's lost time, and has he lost a DRS? I think he will not have DRS on this lap. Look how close Ginger is though, right on the back of Zach. Needs a good exit here, and then he can slingshot himself past. This will be a good opportunity for Ginger. He's got the ERS, he's got the position, and look at him, straight down the inside. That's a nice and easy move there for him. I don't think Zach is going to even try to defend. He's just going to sit here, and maybe these two will just work together in some sort of sense, because if they work together, they'll get away from everyone else. And importantly for these two are fighting to maybe get back at Calsper. Maybe you might start to see a little bit of teamwork between Ginger, Zach, and perhaps Lars, etc. Maybe to try and catch up the points and give Calsper a little scare. However, obviously these guys must work together for that. Then again, obviously there's only one winner at the end of the day, so if you win one race and everything, that's not enough. So we'll just have to wait and see really to what happens in this race, but it looks like these two are maybe starting to trade some positions afterwards. It looks like Black Phoenix is closing in on Kazizel a little bit now, so he'll have to be careful. And Toxic is also out of the DRS, so no real trains here, and it seems to be a similar trend all within the top 10 that drivers are without DRS, and then there's a driver behind them who's going to scorch past them on this lap, so we expect to see a lot of changes on the straights.
Yeah, definitely. The top 8 have sort of split into 4 groups of 2, and it looks like Black Phoenix isn't going to wait for the straight. Down the inside he goes into the chicane. He is up into for 3rd position, and Lars getting past Toxic at the same place, except Lars had to go the long way round. Lars has still got DRS, as has Toxic, so very close to each other here, but you can see the Mercedes is pulling away. Cohen gets ahead of Boss Wanted, so a very good move there for both of the Mercedes drivers, and Simply jumps Ferreira as well, and this is the first real train now behind Simply at the moment. You can see Pitmat, D-Spring, Gabris, Vanderbroek, all the way down to Cherry Tupai, all getting DRS at the moment. So we saw a few position changes there. Phoenix up to 3rd, Lars up to 5th, Cohen up to 7th, and Simply up into a 9th position, and Pitmat right all over the back of Ferreira at the moment. Pitmat's going to be interesting to watch on those medium tyres. Expect him obviously to be faster later on in the race, and they're not really getting caught in the dirty air at the moment. In fact, he might be able to go down the inside at the hairpin here. Great move from the Renault driver. He's into the points. Yeah,
and Pitman, very good start. Look at Simply, he looks to come back, but this is really the crossover point now around lap 5, lap 6. Those mediums will tend to actually probably be on the pace, and That's the problem with this track with the softs. Like, you probably want to pit around lap 5, lap 6 if you want to go into hards, and not gonna lie, it's kind of not a bad strategy. However, you've got to realise those medium tyres are going to be so much better for the first couple of laps when you do come out, so you're going to have a lot of pressure. The thing is with this track though, obviously, there's not many opportunities to overtake unless you get it done with a very risky move, but as we saw with Pitmat, nice, simple, nice and easy there through the hairpin, and well, Ferreira's struggling and he hasn't come into the pits, and he's got D-Spree now beside him, and he's got wing damage, Ferreira has, so that explains why he's losing so much time, and we're going 3 wide into this corner. This is not very safe to go 3 wide into here. It could be very dangerous, and I think we've got away with an incident, and I think that's Pam who's got by as well, so Ferreira losing a lot of time, and he's got a bit of wing damage as well, so the Williams driver will be very happy with that.
Yeah, might have definitely been working, maybe coming into the pits that time around and just going for the hard tyres, because I imagine he'd be faster on those than he is at the moment with that front wing damage. We did see a swap at the lead of this race then. Zach just streaking past Ginger in a similar way to the Alfa Romeo driver did to him a couple of laps ago. So Zach now back in the lead of the race is the pole sitter. And I said the top 8 had sort of split into lots of groups of 2. Black Phoenix, Cazizzo, Lars, Toxic, Cohen and Boss Wanted now forming the more familiar trains that we're used to seeing. So this could get very interesting, especially with Lars, who's really closing up to the back of Cazizzo here at the moment. Can he use the slipstream through 130R and maybe even send one down the inside or around the outside into the chicane? It's going to be from a long way back if he's going to do for it. Looks as though he's lining up, but no, decides better of it. If he can get a better exit though, this might not necessarily be over. Cazizzo is going to have DRS, but that's a very good exit from the Mercedes, and he's still got a chance. And you can see here the Alfa Romeo realising that he has to go defensive. Can Lars go all the way round the outside here into turn 1? No, he cannot. Cazizzo doesn't really leave him a lot of space. He did have the inside line, he was still alongside, and Lars earns himself a pen there. And just to emphasise your point, Sam, about what tyres are now the fastest, D-Spreen, fastest lap of the race last time around.
Well, those mediums look like they've got a long way to go, as it looks like. He's losing a little bit of time, though, now to Pitmat, of course, but he's gaining time as well. I think that may be just down to Pitmat also having the DRS and Simply, so D-Spreen is going to be stuck behind, but now we've got a little bit of a train here between the 3 medium runners, and, well, Simply's got to have to pit soon, because Pitmat is going to be right on his tail, and Pitmat may even take a position here up to 9th place. And this is crucial for Pitmat. If he wants to get a podium or perhaps win this race, there is a possibility of that, of course. He needs to start pushing now and making the moves, and D-Spreen's definitely done that. Well, we talked about a driver who needed to push, that's Cherry 2 out, and we've got a virtual safety car. So this is an interesting one. So what will Ginger, Zach and potentially Black Phoenix do as well? Will they come into the pits this lap and maybe set on the hards, or perhaps even the mediums? I think the mediums will be able to go to the end, but any of them do it? No. Well, Black Phoenix.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'd expect at least one person to come into the pits, and we've got 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th into the pits. Cohen staying out on track as well, so I was expecting round about lap 8, lap 9, under normal conditions, for you to come in and put the medium tyres on. We're seeing a mix of strategies as well. A few different drivers putting on a few different tyres here. Phoenix has gone for the hards. Toxic going for the hards, as has Simply as well. And Calzo's also coming to the pits. He's putting on the hard tyres. So despite starting on the mediums, he's trying something a bit different. DRS has been enabled. We're back to full racing speeds. The order looks very different all of a sudden. Ginger now leading the race, 0.8 seconds ahead of Zach. Cohen in 3rd position. Pitmat on those medium tyres, the first man really on the alternate strategy. He's in 4th place. He's only 7 seconds off the lead at the moment. Those mediums look mighty around this circuit.
Yeah, but Pitmat's been he'll be a little bit annoyed with that actually, because his teammates crash out of the race, and that's probably the wrong time really, since all the soft runners had the choice to go in at that point, and they've all chosen to do so. I mean, he's now only, what, like 7th? No, he's like 14, 15 seconds ahead of Black Phoenix. Once he does Pitmat eventually, he will possibly, and you've got to consider also his tyres are going to become much worse later on in his stint. He's only going to be around, he's going to lose about 7 or 8 seconds to them. And you've got to think these guys weren't even that far ahead, so for Pitmat, he wouldn't be enjoying this, and I don't think neither would Zach or Ginger and Cohen pits now, so interesting for that one. But I think this is going to be a really interesting one, though, for those who have pitted already, because it was an interesting time the virtual safety car came out, because the hards, obviously, we know will make it to the end from like lap 5, lap 6 time, but the mediums, they have been known to potentially hit that sort of zone where potentially they can actually explode on you and get a puncture towards the end of this race. So for Lars Kazizel, Boss Wanted, and, well, not for Cohen because Cohen's just pitted, we're going to be seeing a lot of tyre saving from these guys. I guess Cohen kind of comes in that list as well, but all of these guys on the mediums are going to have a bit of tyre saving since they did come in on lap 7 and not on the, what I would recommend, lap 9 or 10.
Yeah, most certainly, and a lot could depend on just how much dirty air you're stuck in as well, because then you're scrubbing the tyres a bit more, a lot more understeer. That tends to happen, oversteer as well on corner exit, and I think that's why Cohen came into the pits, because he lit up the rears coming out of the final corner, so he's now down in 14th place, dropping behind Boss Wanted, Simply, Boss Wanted and Simply. A lot could depend on how Black Phoenix does here. 18.6 seconds off the lead of this race at the moment on those hard tyres. Not really gaining a lot on the leaders, but not exactly losing a lot either at the moment as the two race leaders come into pit. So Ginger and Zach in the pits. That's going to promote Spreen, who's found his way past Pitmat into the lead of this race. This could be very interesting to see where Ginger and the Ferrari of Zach come out then. Medium tyres going on both of them. Oh, and I thought on my screen then Ginger got held for Zach, but that is not the case. Kazizel has set the fastest lap of the race. He's got ahead of Black Phoenix, and he's in the net lead of the race. Pitting under the VSC has worked out absolutely brilliantly for Kazizel, but can he stretch those medium tyres to the end?
Oh, I wonder. It's going to be curious to see. It's not even if he can stretch him to the end. It's like whether he can get away from Black Phoenix in time as well. You've got obviously that one where at the end of this race, expect those mediums to drop off exponentially compared to the hard tyres, where Kazizel will be basically a sitting duck if he was in this situation on lap 26 or something. Interestingly, we've seen a lot of penalties from drivers, and don't get me wrong, this is personally for me not one of those tracks where it's easy to pick up penalties, so I'm kind of surprised because going a little bit wide there, but taking a more expansive line has helped him get away from Black Phoenix. But I mean, this is important for Kazizel now. Not only tyre saving, but he needs to get rid of Black Phoenix to make sure that he can, I guess, save those tyres in the end of the race. And someone, I think, just picked up a bit of dirt or gravel there. I don't know who, or I don't know how they escaped really with no consequence. But yeah, interesting. Just really about how many penalties people are getting.
The main places I think you can get penalties here, we saw Black Phoenix, as I think was on the inside of Degner 1, so I think it's just taking the corners a bit too tight and just putting four wheels on the inside rather than running wide. I'm not sure whether Kazizel does want to drop Black Phoenix, if I'm being perfectly honest, because I think if Kazizel gets rid of Black Phoenix, then Lars is going to shoot past him as well, and we know how much pressure Lars could put some of these drivers under. But like you said, if Kazizel lets Black Phoenix stay in contact with him, then the hard tyres are going to become better and better during the end of the race, and the Alfa Romeo won't really have a lot to defend with. So it's going to be interesting to see how these guys play it out, because they're currently in 6th place, 9.6 seconds off the lead of the race, and it is a pretty decent battle for the lead at the moment. D-Spreen, Pitmat and Gabri. This will give these guys at the net lead of the race a bit of an indication to how long these medium tyres go on for. You'd imagine at least lap 15, lap 16 before these guys come in to put the soft tyres on.
Yeah, you'd be looking at about lap 16, 17, because obviously they got to make those softs last till the end. If they pit on lap 15, their softs are going to be done. Usually it's 10 laps really till those softs really start to have really bad negative effects really. And I guess for these guys, they're going to try and play it. They're going to try and play it in an interesting way, because obviously the virtual safety car has hindered them so much in some sense, but they may come out behind all the back of this train, and this is not what you want. You don't want traffic at this sort of track, where it's very difficult to overtake, but also these guys are going to be eager, knowing that they're on the better tyres in the first few laps. But This is more of a game of strategy. Is that Zach?
Yeah, it is. Zach's been off somewhere. Lars has just got ahead of Boss Wanted, and Zach has been off the track. Has he got any damage? We really can't... Well, we can tell his right-hand plate looks absolutely fine from that camera angle, but it would be delightful if we could get another one.
Ooh,
there we go. No damage that I can see, but again...
He's got a tiny bit, I think. There's usually a thing on the end plate where it's a little bit chipped on the side. Actually, no, that's just a Ferrari, I think. It's interesting because with all of them, they all have a little chip on the side, can mean that they have really minor wing damage. And I thought I saw that, but I think that's just the way the Ferrari is. So just ignore that.
What it is, though, is a bit like last time in Vietnam. We talk about the mistakes Lars made. Zach broke his front wing in Vietnam as well, and that's why he dropped further down the order. And the same's happened here. He's down in 14th position. He's now 10 seconds behind Ginger, and let's not forget how close they were before the first pit stops that they made. So Lars did get ahead of Black Phoenix. He's up into 7th place, and Ginger will be giving it a try this time around. He's already closing up quite dramatically. As we come up to the chicane, he's not going to find a gap on the inside there. Black Phoenix chopping him off there, making it as hard as he can in that Williams, but no, not the best line there from Phoenix. Had a bit of a twitch, gets away with it though. Still the top three, D-Spreen, Pitmat and Gabri, hardly anything separating them. Now for Kazizel though, he's starting to catch traffic of Svanderborg. Really, probably the worst place, maybe even on the F1 calendar, where you can catch up slower moving traffic is the S's at Japan. This is going to feel absolutely dreadful, and you can just see the understeer that the Alfa Romeo is getting.
Oh yeah, and also this helps Lars, because Lars then comes into this, and there we go. He's literally just off, and if he does get into the DRS, this is positive for him. He looks a little bit more quicker than Kazizel, but I'm just interested to see. This is something that Ginger needs to do. He needs to get past Black Phoenix on this lap or at the start of next lap. It's pretty much crucial, but Black Phoenix is being aided with the DRS, and I think Black Phoenix will be really happy about this, because he's in this DRS train, and the more he sticks in that, and the more he sticks close behind these two ahead, the better it'll be at the end. And well, Kazizel needs to get by these back markers. He needs to get past Vanderberg on this straight. Can he get by him through 130? Oh, here he goes to the inside, and well, he should have cleared him through it, and yes, he has. So very good move for Kazizel there, just to make sure that he gets ahead. However, does he get the DRS, or was he too late? He does not get the DRS, but he's got away a lot. I think Lars will just get a nice easy move on Svanderberg. Yes, he does, and I think he's also got ahead of Black Phoenix, who's also losing the position to Ginger right now. So Ginger playing a little bit of catch-up at the moment, and Ginger's in a good position. Lars gone a little bit wide there. Svanderberg's everywhere, and well, like you said, here come the S's, and this is where you don't want to be behind slow traffic. It's an absolute nightmare, and this is what's happened to Ginger. So very interesting strategies now have to go play here, because Ginger's got a good exit. Is he going to look for a move at Degner while he's just going to sit behind? So Ginger just behind Svanderberg, worn medium tyres versus fresh medium tyres. Oh, it'll be interesting, but he needs to get past immediately, Ginger, if he wants to think about winning this race.
Yeah, he definitely does. He's now 1.5 seconds behind Lars, and he's probably going to have to do it at the same point as Kazizel did. And now going up towards 130R. So very interesting happening there. Vanderburg, I thought for a second if he had DRS he might be able to stay ahead of Lars, but it didn't work out that way for him. Black Phoenix dropping behind Ginger, and Boss Wanted's sort of behind these guys as well. We haven't talked about him, but if there's a bit of incidents up ahead, who knows what could happen, and maybe we could even see a podium for the Haas driver. I think it would take a bit of a minor miracle at this moment in time, and Ginger still hasn't got past Vanderburg. Now he's going to do it, going around the outside into the chicane. Black Phoenix is going to try and get involved, as well as that AlphaTauri is all over the place at the moment, as Toxic is around at the chicane. He's going to have to do a bit of a 3-point turn here to avoid the barrier. He's in the old pit entry here. He's going to drop down into 15th position. Disaster for him. And Lars, like you said, he's right on the back of Kazizel. Ginger 2 seconds behind Lars all of a sudden. That's going to be tough to catch up.
Yeah, and I just looked at Svanderberg. He got absolutely eaten alive on the straight. Of course, Ginger got by him just before, but Black Phoenix got by him, and so did Boss Wanted. So I think Svanderberg didn't even have any DRS whatsoever, which compromised him so much because he got a poor exit out of the corner as well. I wonder if he'll look to maybe risk it and pit this lap, and maybe just try and see if he can go for the fastest lap. But it's an interesting one for Svanderberg, since no one really is near anyone anymore. Like the net race leaders, Kazizzle, Lars and Ginger, they're nowhere near Super Mario, so I don't know where Svanderberg has lost all his pace from, but he's been a bit poor today, and now he's going to fall right to the back of the grid, it looks like, when he does make his stop.
But he's still in the race. He's still in the race. And who knows what he's going to try. Maybe just try and go a bit longer and hope for a safety car and think that you might get lucky and manage to get some points, as Simply gets ahead of Cohen then. So they're currently battling for 11th and 12th position. Pitmat looking very close, trying to go around the outside here into turn 1. And is he going to make it all the way around the outside of 2? He's going to have the inside for the first corner of the S's. You can see D-Spreen still hanging on in the Haas. And in the end, does get ahead. Gabri's dropped a bit further back from these guys. He's not right on the back. But Super Mario's making this a 4-way fight for the lead of this race as Cohen's into the pits. I wonder if he had a bit of damage. He's put the softer tyres on. Doesn't get a point for the fastest lap unless you finish at the top 10. But I imagine that is what he's going for here in the Mercedes.
Well, an interesting one, because all the guys have still yet to pit. I don't think they will come behind Cohen, of course, because Cohen now is completely behind. Oh, Pam has got very close to Pitmat there. I didn't even notice him. And these guys starting to get very close towards each other. It's only helping Gazizzle, Lars, etc. But, I mean, Cohen probably just stealing it away just in case, of course, for anyone else who wants to get it. And I guess thinking smartly for constructors, not going to lie, just for himself. Just to make sure that he knows he's quick enough to beat these guys, perhaps. But it's an interesting one because Kazizzle's got Lars now behind him, and I guess it's kind of maybe a team play for if there is a safety car, just to check the wear of those soft tyres, just to see if it is valid probably to come in, and also what pace the runners who are coming in now will be setting. So for teammate-wise, Cohen is actually probably playing a good game here because he will have a little bit of data or knowledge of how good those tyres are and how long they will go, just in case of that a certain safety car does perhaps come out. So for Lars, this is actually quite positive. He's now in second place and he's fighting for the win.
Yeah, he has got a chance of getting the victory. 7/7 of a second behind Kazizzle at the moment. Gabri, the only one of those front four to stay out at that time around. Vanderburg came in as well, so they've come out. D-Springs come out in 10th place on the soft tyres. Pitmat 11th. Super Mario quickly getting back ahead of Toxic, so he is now in 12th place. You'd imagine it won't be too hard for them to get ahead of Calzo and could possibly even catch up to Zach. So the alternate strategy definitely would have gained these guys a couple of points at this moment in time. Ginger, who was 2 seconds behind Lars at the moment, is now 1.3 seconds, and now Black Phoenix is staying with them. He's not being dropped on those hard tyres. So 10 laps to go. Can't really count anyone out at the moment, as I think Cohen has been off the circuit again. Yes, big front wing damage for the Mercedes. So if he was hoping to maybe give Lars a bit of data, that has gone completely out of the window. Gabri's into the pits. That means Kazizzle, with 10 laps to go, is leading this race. Him, Lars, and Ginger, and Black Phoenix. Let's not forget, one of them probably going to get their first victory tonight.
Yeah, and Kazizzle, was looking at penalties, he hasn't got any. Lars is one away from getting a second one, so Lars needs to be careful. Ginger is quite close in this as well. I don't think Ginger's won so far this season, so we are very close from getting a new race winner this season, and that does include Lars. And, well, it seems likely now, because I don't think any of these have won. The only one that has won this season, really, who's racing tonight, is Zach, and Zach's completely out of it. So a completely new race winner is what we're potentially going to see. Who will it be, though, is the real big question, and I'm wondering now if Ginger is perhaps going to do so, because, I mean, well, Ginger, he's on 2 lap old fresher tyres, and like I said at the end, those mediums will start to go massively, and well, Ginger will have to capitalise on that. If he can, potentially take the race lead, but also let's not forget Black Phoenix is in this fight as well, and potentially Boss Wanted depending on things. But for Black Phoenix, keeping in the DRS of Ginger is crucial, and if he does so, he can really start to threaten these guys in the dying laps.
Yeah, definitely. I think you're right, though. He needs to stay within DRS of Ginger, and you can see he's pretty much using all his ERS at the moment just to try and stay in contact, and he was just inside at that all-important activation point. So he's in 4th place. Lars, 9 laps to go. 4/10 of a second. He gets the gap down to Kazizel, but just can't quite close in enough. We saw Toxic coming to the pits that lap. He's now in 15th and last place as Cohen has become our second retirement of this race. D-Screen all over the back of Calzo then for 8th and 9th place. Is he going to try and go down the inside at turn 2? There's no way that wasn't ending in a collision. It's a good job he pulled out, and a bit like we saw earlier on, now he's got to spend all this time on the S's stuck behind a car on much slower tyres at this point out in time, and that's just really going to cost him in the dirty air as he tries to get as high up the field as possible. And he knows he can't really go for a lunge because you look behind him, you got Pitmat, Super Mario, possibly even Gabby as well, just waiting for a slight mistake as they try and work their way as high up the points as possible. Out in front, Lars looking very close there through Spoon to the back of Kazizo, but probably a bit too close because he's just ran wide in the dirty air. Has he got... They're both doing pretty well on ERS, both above 35% at this moment in time, so they're not going to run out of that. Lars has just got to be clever through this final corner to get a better exit coming out of the chicane and maybe give it a go into turn 1. We'll see how he does this time around compared to the Alfa Romeo. Fairly even from the pair of them, so not sure. Well, actually, no, I think he might be close enough, and I think Kazizel realises that because he's staying to the inside line. Lars on lap 20 is going to try and send it all the way around the outside. He did this earlier on, and it didn't work, and this time he wasn't as close as he got then. But now that they've started battling, this could definitely help Ginger catch up to the pair of them.
Yeah, look how wide he's going in the dirt. Yeah, playing a massive effect for Lars. Although Ginger closing in now, he's going to be looking to battle them very soon. And Black Phoenix as well hasn't exactly lost a huge amount of time. He may have lost the DRS. I don't think he'll be too worried because it seems like those mediums will start to go off now. Well, if you look at Ginger anyway, because Ginger's starting to close in now. And Ginger's are 2 laps old younger. It looks like the 2 lap old younger tyres will go in 2 laps, but at this current point, it's good for these medium runners, however, because of course Black Phoenix is under pressure from Boss Wanted, and he doesn't have the DRS, so these guys may fly away even further because of that. But I guess the 2 front runners are in a little bit of danger because Ginger is closing lap by lap.
Yes, most definitely. So Kazizel just about held on to the lead, and doing that has helped his teammate get involved in this battle as well. Now just 1 second separating the top 3, 7 laps to go when they cross the finish line this time around. Again, Kazizel and Lars getting fairly similar exits. He looks a similar distance behind once again, about 4/10 of a second. Again, the Alfa Romeo goes to the inside, and Lars not even bothering to pick up the slipstream there, not bothering to go for the move. Ginger as well, not close enough. Oh, Lars has really locked up there. I think he nearly went into the back of Kazizel. I think he just got caught out ever so slightly by the line the Alfa Romeo driver took, but that could have ended in a big accident. Thankfully for him, it didn't. Further down the back of the field, Zach trying to close up to the back of Simply. The Ferrari recovering. He's trying to get up to 6th place, and D-Screen, he's got ahead of Calzo, but to Calzo's credit, he's staying in contact on those hard tyres, partly helped by DRS, and that means Pitmat, Mario and Gabri aren't finding it as easy to catch up as they would have liked, as Toxic, he now retires in the pit lane.
Yeah, and Ginger's getting closer again. Boss One is getting very close to Black Phoenix there. Did he hit the back of him there? I don't think he did, but getting very close and feisty at the front. Zach is getting quite close to Simply as well. However, how long do those mediums go before they start to fall apart? We've got yellow flags. That would be Vanderberg, I think. Yeah, but he has, and he's left the session. He hadn't even retired. He just left the session, so that's because he got wing damage. I don't really know how he's done that, but because Zizzle's got quite far away this time. Perhaps Lars is questioning his decision to not go for a move here, and Ginger's closed in quite a bit. And I tell you, someone who looks to be looking for a move this time out, it may just be Boss Wanted, but it looks like Ginger's just going to lose time again. Watch Boss Wanted though, he is literally looking to the inside for Black Phoenix. Black Phoenix doesn't even defend. Boss Wanted to the inside then, gets the move done and has to drive it up to 5th place. Interestingly, how long will that into 4th place, but how long will that 4th place last for Boss Wanted? Simply because Black Phoenix, he will start to get better times than Boss Wanted. We will check the times. I will check the times in a minute to see how they're doing, but we will definitely see the hard times come to light soon, and the medium tires start to go.
Yeah, especially those who pitted under the VSC, so that's Kazizel, Lars and Boss Wanted, those at the front that pitted under the VSC. Vanderburg has, well, his AI car has come into the pit, so we're effectively down to 13 runners at the moment, and we're looking at the battle for the final points positions. You can see as we're on board with Super Mario, he's got D-Speed and Calzo ahead of him. He's got Pitmat and Gabri closing up behind as well, with Mario just sneaking ahead of the Renault last time around. Back to the lead battle though, because this definitely looks as though he's stretching it out a bit more, and Ginger, now that he's got within DRS range, he's sort of in that annoying dirty air period where he can't really push himself closer without losing chunks of downforce, and obviously doesn't want to drop back. That looked like a better exit from Lars. He just got a bit of a twitch on coming through the final corner, so that's not going to happen this time around. 5 laps to go, still really no closer to knowing who's going to take the victory out on track here. We know Lars has a penalty. He's tapped the back of Kazizel again, gets away without any damage, but needs to be careful. If he spins Kazizel around there, he's just going to block his own path, and Ginger will be like, well, thank you very much, I'll take the lead.
Well, yeah, Lars very close to him. I think he was hesitant through there. He went down to gear 7. I think he had a slight lift through the first corner. And into the second corner, he just broke much later than Kazizel. Went into the back of him. Luckily, no damage. Of course, not simulation damage, thank God. Otherwise, it would have been a bit of his wing took off there. But Kazizel also, well done to him, just keeping it on the track. And well, Lars at the moment, he's looking to get by. It seems like he's getting a little bit more desperate though, but he's still just conserving. He's conserving his ERS, not running too much. And there we go. Look at that, Kazizel. 3-second time penalty. How will that affect the race finish? I believe Ginger doesn't even have a penalty yet, so for Ginger this is brilliant news. However, for Lars and Kazizel this isn't exactly great news. Is Lars going to look to the outside here at the chicane? Is he going to go for the move around the outside? This will be brilliant if he has, and I tell you what, I think he's got it. I think Kazizel is stuck behind as well, but Lars will have the DRS. I don't think there's any sort of defence. Wait, what? No one has the DRS. But Ginger has the DRS, but none of these are the DRS. That's odd. Ginger hasn't been able to get a move done. He's definitely closing in on these guys, and Black Phoenix as well, starting to close on Boss Wanted. So this is a very entertaining last few laps of this race, and we could see a lot of things changing from here.
Yes, only 4 laps to go then. Top 5 cars separated by 2.2 seconds at this moment in time. Super Mario battles with Calzo. He gets back up into 10th position. Pitmat unable to take advantage as Gabri looks to try and sneak his way through, because Pitmat on a bit of a compromised line there, and that battling has allowed D-Spreen to just get away ever so slightly. Further up, 6th and 7th place, Zach closing onto the back of Simply, but even though he's got slightly fresher mediums than the 2 cars in the lead and Boss Wanted, you still imagine at this moment in time the hards might just ever so slightly be the better tyres to be on, as that's another penalty then for Lars. So that's 6 seconds at least, so 3 seconds more than Kazizel, 6 seconds more than Ginger. And you can see here the Alfa Romeo trying to close in. Is he going to be close enough to maybe give Lars a taste of his own medicine? Because twice the Mercedes has managed to go around the outside of the chicane. Not this time around. If he gets a better exit though, which I imagine he will do, as Lars definitely hit the curb quite hard there, but just a bit of oversteer from Kazizel. That's compromised him quite a lot. He's still closing at a rapid rate of knots here, but isn't going to be close enough to go down the inside. 3 laps to go then. You've got Ginger just waiting patiently. If he's kept it clean, all Ginger has to do is just wait behind these guys. I'm sure he's getting in touch with Jeff and if these guys have got penalties, it wouldn't make any sense to go for a move.
Nah, Ginger's just going to sit behind, I think. He knows he's not really in trouble, but guys ahead of him have got much worse for wear tyres than him. Same with Boss Wanted behind, who's getting trouble by Black Phoenix, but then again, Black Phoenix is probably not even going to be a trouble for Ginger. Here's an interesting one. These guys ahead, Svanderberg now is in this. I don't think he'll affect any of these guys, but for Simply, this may help him out in his defence for Zach, because Zach is up into 7th place. Not that far behind, but we've got Svanderberg here. Could he interfere perhaps with Simply and give Simply the DRS there to save him from Zach? It'd be an interesting scenario to see, I wonder, but mainly on this battle though, it looks like it's going to be these top 3 who are going to finish off the top 3, but the order, oh well, I don't even know this one.
Yeah, if they check the penalties, they might stay in the same place, as Black Phoenix has gone down the inside at the 130R on Boss Wanted. That is a fantastic move. He wasn't done before the corner, he did it during the corner. And thankfully, Boss Wanted was aware of that. So Black Phoenix, he's now thought, right, 2 laps to go. Time to show what these hard tyres have got left in the tank here. He's up into 4th position at the moment. Again, Kazizel not close enough to have a go on Lars, who runs slightly wide coming through turn 2. I think they're starting to struggle on these tyres. Half a second separating the top 3. At this moment in time, you'll expect the Alfa Romeos to drop back again because of the dirty air. And Simply and Zach are going faster than these guys as well. At the moment, all of a sudden, they're only 5 seconds off the lead. It has been an incredibly close race with 2 laps to go. We still don't really know who is going to take the victory out on track at this moment in time. Will it be Lars? Will it be Kazizel? Will it be Ginger? Will it even be Black Phoenix? I think probably not, but you never know. It'll be an absolutely spectacular finish if so, because he's closed right onto the back of these guys all of a sudden. And we saw the lap before, he doesn't care where he goes for an overtake. If he's coming through, he's coming through. Boss Wanted has just dropped ever so slightly back, just within that 1 second margin at the moment. This is going to be an absolutely fantastic flying lap. Can Kazizel close in to the back of Lars? He's doing so. Lars looking a bit low on his ERS at the moment, so Kazizel might have a chance here. He's ran very wide through 130R. Is he going to send one down the inside on the penultimate lap? He goes for the move. Lars has just about got it covered off. This is going to give Ginger a chance to get a fantastic exit. The 2 have made contact.
Oh my goodness.
Kazizel's down to 4th place. We're on the final lap here. Ginger has got the DRS. He's got the move done. Black Phoenix is in this as well.
No.
Oh, Kazizel's off.
Oh dear, he's into the wall. I think he's just about kept out of the wall, but Lars there very late defending. I wouldn't be surprised if that goes into the sewers there. That was a bit naughty from the Mercedes driver there. Very late defending, but I guess he just panicked as well. Can't really go 3 wide into the first corner. That is manic, but this is completely just switched around. Ginger's leading this race now. He's going to be defending for Black Phoenix, whose tyres perhaps will be better now than his. So Black Phoenix may be finishing this in first. However, I believe he does have a penalty, so for Ginger, this is brilliant news about this has happened. But for Lars, I mean, I don't really know what to say. He's defended quite heavily on it, and it's let everyone in, and then he defended last second on Kazizel, and now Kazizel's not even going to get points, it looks like, unless any significant penalties. So Lars has screwed not only his race, but he's also screwed Kazizel's by a massive margin.
Yeah, definitely. It'll be interesting to see what happens in the stewards after that. Ginger, though, he doesn't have to worry about all that. Lars defended extremely hard from Kazizel, and that just left a massive gap on the inside for Ginger to take advantage of. He rounds the final corner then, and he is going to take victory here in round 9 for the first time this season. Ginger takes the win. Black Phoenix simply gets 2nd place. He's kept it clean. Black Phoenix 3rd, Boss Wanted 4th, Zach 5th, Lars 6th place and facing the wrong way across the finish line. Pam in 7th, Super Mario 8th. I think Calzo ended up getting 9th place there. An absolutely crazy finish. Ginger, his first win of the season, and he'll be very happy with that because he was obviously 2nd in the championship before, so extends the gap to those behind. He's now 34 points behind Calsper. It will be a challenge, but he's shown tonight he is up for any challenge, taking the victory. Got to say, great job from Black Phoenix on the hards to get 3rd place, but simply, we didn't even consider him. I said he was closing up. he's managed to finish in second.
Well, keeping it clean is always the best way to go, and I guess he's just listened to that. He's got second place. He didn't win this race. I'm curious to see how far he is actually off the lead in the end. If it was less than 3 seconds, which I believe it possibly actually was, then if he got a penalty, oh my goodness, look how close he was. He could have won this race. A simple mistake from Ginger, and he got a penalty as well with that, then simply could have easily won this race. An impressive performance from the German, but of course nothing stops Ginger. Ginger's just on fire today, and he's won it by 3 seconds, and a brilliant result for him. Puts his championship back on track. It's going to be difficult, but he's definitely up for a challenge. The man was in second place at the start. He finishes on top in the round where it was probably most important, and he's cut the gap down now to 34 points there. So, going to be difficult, but I think Ginger's up for it.
Yes, most definitely. He takes his first win of the season simply with the first podium that he's got. Alpha Tauri only had 10 points before this race. He's got 12 here. Black Phoenix in third. Boss Wanted fourth. Zach is fifth. Lars sixth. Gabri, Super Mario, Calzo, and Ferreira, who we didn't really talk about, rounding out the points there. Absolutely crazy race. You've got to feel sorry, though, for Kazizel with everything that happened. With that incident at the end, I saw Lars defend very heavily into the final corner. That obviously gave Ginger the one. Black Phoenix was involved. 4 cars heading towards turn 1. I think it was inevitable. There was always going to be one car who came off badly there, and unfortunately for him, it was Kazizel.
Probably not the best of moves. Because there's all.
Yeah, shame we're not going to get to hear from either of them, I suppose, after that race, because it'd been very interesting to see what they think of that. We are going to try and get, though, our top 3 drivers in, which tonight are going to be Ginger with the victory, Black Phoenix getting that third position, and simply getting second. We said the hard tyres could work towards the end for Black Phoenix. Look how close they came to giving him a victory, at least on the track.
Yeah, very, very close. I mean, Black Phoenix would be absolutely chuffed for that, I reckon. I mean, there's no other real words for it, really, for Black Phoenix. He drove a really good race. He used the strategy to his advantage, and, well, obviously Ginger won this race on track. He didn't do the virtual safety car pit stop, so in some sense he had all the work to do, but Black Phoenix, he made the right decision to go onto the hards, because like the mediums were dying in the last 2 laps, and we could definitely see that. Because Black Phoenix, well, with 2 laps to go, wasn't even in intention of potentially winning this race. And, well, he was on the back of Ginger and almost overtaking him at the end. So, fair play to the strategy, and he's really unlucky not to get a win in this race.
Yes, most definitely. We have got the race winner then, and the man who finished in third. So these two finished first and second out on track. And Ginger, your first win of the season, sort of consolidates your second place in the championship for now. Is there maybe a tiny bit part of you thinking maybe if Carlsberg has a bit of bad luck, I can still get the win in this championship?
Nah, no way. Carlsberg is too quick. The gap is already too big, but I'm really happy with this win. So happy. But no, I'm fighting for F1.5 in F3. Let's just say it like that.
Well, yeah, you've done a very good job today. What was your thought then in those final couple of laps? We saw Lars and Kazizel nearly come together for the final corner, and it all just sort of opened up for you. And great victory. Were you tempted to pit under the virtual safety car? Because that is what Lars and we saw Black Phoenix do it to go onto the hard tyres. Lars did it, Kazizel did it, and that's how they got ahead of you in the early stages. Did you think about that, or were you always set on your strategy?
I was in with T1000 at party, and we were really discussing it, like, are we pitting or are we not pitting? And at the end, just at the last moment, I thought, let's just stay out. But that PSC, I don't know how long it was, but it stayed out for like 2 years. Oh my god, it was so long. And still, like, those last two laps on the softs were really good. So did lose like 3 positions, and then overtook Black Phoenix on the mediums. Had to really fight hard for that, and wasn't in the DRS from Lars for like 10 laps. So not 10 laps, that's not true, but like 6 laps. So had to really fight for it to get in that DRS. Had to be so consistent. But at the end, on my pace, I got in that DRS, and I knew they had the penalty, and I only had 1 warning. So I was like, I'm just gonna stay behind for now, and let's see if I can go for a move at one point. And they made contact, and I was like, okay, it's my first place now, and I really wanted to win it on track. And Black Phoenix came really close on those hards. He was really quick, but luckily I had like 70% for DRS for the last lap, so I just could use overtake if I had to defend. So super happy with this win, and I think I was with Black Phoenix for sure the fastest on track, so I think I deserved this one.
Yeah, it was definitely a well-deserved victory. Congratulations on your first win of the season. And it is a 3rd podium in a row for Black Phoenix, staying 3rd in the championship. You very nearly made it work on those hard tyres to take the victory out on track there.
Yeah, at the end, around lap 23 or 4, I was just like, I don't know how those guys are still going, so I thought I'd made a mistake with strategy, but around lap 26, their tyres completely went, and then I knew I wasn't going to win because Ginger obviously didn't have a pen, but tried to get for P2, and then I think was it Simply just came out of nowhere and got me on pen. So it was a pretty intense race for that. So I'm quite happy with the podium.
Yeah, definitely. As I mentioned there, 3 podiums in a row, 5 races to go. I'm imagining that you're a bit like Ginger now. You're just concentrating on trying to get that best of the rest in the championship.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know, if you put Kalsper in this race, would he have won by a minute? Maybe. So I think that's just out of the window for first in championship. So like I said, I think last week, just got to focus on trying to get P2. Obviously Ginger extends that a bit, but it's still all to play for P2.
Yes, definitely still all to play for. Sam, do you have any questions for our first and third place finishers?
No real questions on it, so...
Yeah, so good job, guys, on the podium today. We'll see you next time out for the Chinese Grand Prix, and we'll see all you people at home as well for that race. Same time, same place next week. If you want some more PSGL action and you want to see a bit of a preview of the Chinese Grand Prix, there is the Formula Performance tomorrow night at 8 p.m. And then on Thursday, the first of the Equal Performance League, starting with F11 and F10. And then on Sunday, you'll see some more before we're back on the Monday night. We've had our 4th different winner of the season so far. We had a feeling when Zach had a spin we were going to get a different winner, but right up until the last minute we didn't quite know who it was going to be, and it turned out to be Ginger in what was an absolutely fantastic race. And hopefully the Shanghai International Circuit will provide some more exhilarating PSGL action. But from myself and Sam, and from Ginger and Black Phoenix, have a very good evening.